You know how much I love to bring the receipts. You know how much I enjoy knowing that what I'm sharing with you here on this program is not just factual, but useful to you for your information as you make decisions about your life on any number of issues. So let's dive in here. We're talking about Kamala Harris and we're talking about her policy proposals. And I am flabbergasted by how little she actually wants to share with America about who she really is. Now, luckily for us, YouTube is forever and the internet is our best friend, and we carry it around with us in our pockets. Your cell phone is a supercomputer. And so you don't have to rely on Kamala Harris and her surrogates to determine what she really believes. But it is a lot of information to wade through. And sometimes what you're seeing is literally propaganda, made up stories, things like that. And so it's great when someone goes out and catalogs everything. So the award winning Washington Free Beacon has a huge expose up at their website, and it's important enough for us to share here on the show because it turns out she's flip-flopping on policy, but she's not doing it directly, except for the cash, no taxes on tips, the cash tips proposal. That one she has actually uttered at a campaign rally out of her own mouth. But the rest of these are all offered up to the news media organizations in the form of anonymous comments by staffers on the Harris Waltz campaign. So this all goes back to the 2019 run for the presidency that Harris mounted when she first shared with America her political aspirations for the presidency. So keep that in mind. The reason we know what she believes about so many of these things is also because she served as a senator from the state of California and proposed legislation in her role there. So we do know what she believes about these things. She doesn't want you to remember that, but that's why we're here. So let's start off with the far left policy positions that she now wants to run away from because she needs to be a Republican to get elected. Let's start off with oil and gas drilling. She endorsed a total ban on fracking during her 2019 campaign, and she criticized the practice of fracking as being unsafe. She said, "There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking." This was her comment during a September of 2019 CNN town hall. So these are her own words, not someone else placing words in her mouth. Now, a year later, she walked that position back. She said she does not support fracking. She didn't say I support fracking, but she did tell CNN's Dana Bash that she was comfortable with Biden's pledge not to ban fracking. So which of these two statements should we believe? The first one when she was running for the presidency, or the second one when she was trying to toe the line because she was the second on a presidential ticket, one in which she had also insulted the top of the ticket as being a racist. Why would she be on a ticket with a racist? I don't know. You'd have to ask her. Illegal border crossings. Harris was one of 11 candidates in the 2020 Democratic contest to pledge to decriminalize crossing into America illegally. This was during a 2019 debate. You had then Telemundo actor Jose Diaz-Balart asking all of the participants to simply raise their hands if they thought it would be a civil offense, as opposed to a crime to enter the country illegally. Harris raised her hand. Now, I want you to understand something here. Decriminalization of illegal border crossings amounts to the end of our sovereignty as a country. It's a free-for-all. The 1.4 billion people in the planet who would love to live here in America could simply come in, and they wouldn't need to cross over the border. They could fly into the country, because why would we have a vetting system at customs? Why would we have customs and border enforcement at airports if it's not a crime to enter the country? You can come in whether we want you here or not, whether you're a criminal or not. There's a cascade effect to decriminalization of border crossings. She knows that. She brags about having been an AG and prosecutor. I've never been an AG or prosecutor. I'm not a lawyer. I don't play one on TV. I just have the Law and Order gong that I play sometimes on the radio to prove that I've seen all episodes, all 19 seasons. So maybe I'm a TV lawyer. I don't know, but I can read, and I can tell you that there is no way we have a country if it's not lawfully opposed a criminal act to enter the country without our permission. Now, she also wants to critically re-examine ICE and its role, possibly eliminating immigration and customs enforcement, which all goes together. This all works together in her scheme to end our sovereignty. There's Medicare for all. She's flip-flopping on this as well. She had a health plan that was possibly the most controversial part of her bid in 2019. She was a two-time co-sponsor of Senator Bernie Sanders' independent Vermont. He's an actual socialist. He proposed a Medicare for all bill when in the Senate, and she co-sponsored it twice. Harris called to eliminate private health insurance in favor of a single payer system. And in a January 2019 town hall, when she was asked about this, she said she felt strongly that we need to have Medicare for all, that it was the bottom line, and that to live in a civil society, we had to be true to the ideals and spirit of who we are as a country, and that we had to basically say that medical care is a right and that you need to eliminate and move on from private insurance. Now, of course, this prompted widespread criticism from the left and the right, and she walked it back. She released a Medicare for All plan that preserved a role for private companies, but you can be assured that that role would be one in which the elites have access to health insurance. People who are wealthy, multimillionaires, could buy health insurance plans, but everyone else would be shunted onto a first come, first serve, needs based kind of Medicare for All plan, which means you have to wait months and months and months for a CT or an MRI scan that could save your life. You would literally need to fly out of the country to have medical procedures. Instead of being a destination for world-class healthcare, we would be a third world hellhole like Venezuela. Bank on it. This is what she has in store for us. Mandatory gun buybacks. Now, as a gun owner, I shot marksman on active duty in the Air Force. I am a fourth generation military veteran, and I believe in the power of the pistol. I couldn't oppose this position more, and you should oppose it if you're a woman, if you're a minority, if you're a human being. Any person who believes in self-defense, which is a biblical concept, we're actually mandated to protect our persons in the Bible. You should oppose any gun buybacks, mandatory confiscation, mandatory registration, any scheme that would prevent you from exercising your rights, God-given rights protected by the Constitution in the Second Amendment. She said back in 2019, again in October, at the March for Our Lives Policy Forum, that she supported a buyback program that would be mandatory. She said, we've got to do it the right way. There are 5 million assault weapons at least. Some estimate as many as 10 million, and we're going to need to have smart public policy that's about taking those off the street. Now, first of all, assault weapon is a misnomer. It actually refers to accessories that are applied to guns that are black. It really has no legal definition as it pertains to what a gun can or cannot do. You can make a very ineffective gun look quite assaulty. That's not a word, but neither is there a proper definition or term for assault weapon. And her estimate about how many of those guns are in the country is completely off. The new estimate is that there are between 450 million and 650 million firearms in this country. So she's going to have trouble going door to door getting those back without someone wielding guns, and they would need to bring back the U.S. Armed Forces from every place on earth that they're currently stationed to go door to door in this country to take guns back, and there would be bloodshed. It's a horrible idea. She knows it, and she's walked it back. Last month, an anonymous campaign official told the New York Times that Harris supports Biden's call for banning assault weapons, but not a requirement to sell them to the federal government. She would immediately rescind this idea when she got back into office as the president, because none of these policy proposals have ever left her mind or heart. She believes in them deeply and would implement them as the president. Be informed, share the information with your friends and neighbors. Don't complain about the situation going on in our country. Be active and do something about it by participating in this election. Volunteer, work the polls, make phone calls, knock doors. Make your participation known. Complaining will not get us anywhere. Up next in our Now News Roundup, Trump is going to sue the DOJ. He's actually suing the DOJ over raiding his house, Mar-a-Lago. I'll tell you more after this.